When it comes to predicting the end of the world, who better to trust than the famed mystic who predicted her own death? I honestly can't think of a better answer than Baba Vanga, unless we're also consulting Nostradamus. Baba Vanga predicted a technological revolution in 2024, with AI continuing its march towards total takeover and the rise of quantum computing leading to major upheaval in the sectors of finance, healthcare, and cybersecurity. In a similar vein, or wire, Baba Vanga predicted that cyber hackers would amplify threats to national security by targeting infrastructures like power grids and water treatment plants. As AI grows more sophisticated and widespread, the voices warning against the potential dangers of artificial intelligence grow louder. These things could get more intelligent than us and could decide to take over, and we kinda need to worry now about how we prevent that happening. According to Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, he did a lot of foundational work on machine learning and neural network algorithms. Last year, 2023, he actually left his position at Google so that he could talk about the dangers of AI, noting that a part of him regrets his life's work. Heck, even Elon Musk, along with over 1,000 other tech leaders, urged in a 2023 open letter to put a pause on large AI experiments, citing that technology can pose profound risks to society and humanity. I think that might officially be the only time I'll ever say this. He made a point. Online media and news have become even murkier in light of AI-generated images and videos, AI voice changers, as well as deepfakes infiltrating political and social spheres. These technologies make it easy to create realistic photos, videos, audio clips, or replace the image of one figure with another in an existing picture or video. As a result, bad actors have another avenue for sharing misinformation and propaganda, creating a nightmare scenario where it can be nearly impossible to distinguish between credible and faulty news. A prime example of scary uses of AI is China's use of facial recognition technology in offices, schools, and other venues. Besides tracking a person's movements, the Chinese government may be able to gather enough data to monitor a person's activities, relationships, and political views. And if you don't understand how scary that is, you better. Another example is US police departments embracing predictive policing algorithms to anticipate where crimes will occur. Now, the problem is that these algorithms are influenced by arrest rates, which disproportionately impact minority communities. Police departments then double down on said communities, leading to over-policing and questions over whether self-proclaimed democracies can resist turning AI into an authoritarian weapon. Now to get into more of the worldwide horoscope style of things, AI rising and cyber-striking are supported by Pluto, planet of the underworld, reckoning and regeneration changing signs from stalwart Capricorn to anything goes Aquarius here in 2024. Now Aquarius is a sign of progress at all cost visionary, the revolutionary, the cult leader, and the inflexible idealist. Relative to reckoning, Pluto is where we reap what we have sown, and it tracks the investment we have made in the name of progress. AI, tech, and otherwise is kinda gonna lead to our downfall or ultimately going obsolete. So en masse, Pluto in Aquarius equates to serious metamorphosis in systems, structures, and social hierarchies. Now for reference, the last time Pluto drug his velvet cape through Aquarius was the late 18th century, ushering in both the American and French revolutions and the onset of the Industrial Revolution. We're requesting another point of no return, my dudes, a critical moment in our human evolution, and another tiptoe towards our collective apocalyptic death wish. Moving on from that, we got another scary one: bioweapons. Oh bother. Now if you're not quite sure exactly what that encompasses, don't worry, I've gotcha. I'll go in depth. So biological warfare, also known as germ warfare, is the use of biological toxins or infectious agents such as bacteria, viruses, insects, and fungi with the intent to kill, harm, or incapacitate humans, animals, or plants as an act of war. Offensive biological warfare in intentional armed conflicts is a war crime, though, under the 1925 Geneva Protocol and several international humanitarian law treaties. To be a little more specific, the 1972 Biological Weapons Convention bans the development, production, acquisition, transfer, stockpiling, and use of biological weapons. Whereas, in contrast, defensive biological research for prophylactic, protective, or other peaceful purposes isn't prohibited by the BWC. So you can see that there's some loopholes here for countries to create bioweapons as long as they promise not to use them. Biological warfare is kinda different from warfare involving other types of weapons of mass destruction, including nuclear warfare, chemical warfare, radiological. None of these are considered conventional weapons, which are deployed primarily for their explosive, kinetic, or incendiary potential. Biological weapons may be employed in various ways to gain a strategic or tactical advantage over the enemy, either by threats or actual deployments. Like some chemical weapons, biological weapons may also be useful as area denial weapons. These agents may be lethal or non-lethal, and may be targeted against a single individual, a group of people, or even an entire population. They might be developed, acquired, stockpiled, or deployed by nation states or non-national groups, whereas in the latter case, if a nation state uses it, kinda quietly all hush hush, yeah, that's So, enter good old Baba Vanga, who predicted that a big country is set to test bioweapons this year. Which one? Well, I'm not a mystic. I can't say with absolute certainty, but if I were to hedge my bets and guess, Russia, Japan, Iraq, hell, maybe even the States. Out of all the countries with like bioweapons programs that we know about, those seem the most likely. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments. In the middle of today's hellscape, something that surprised nobody, a climate crisis. I feel like with the state of global warming, this one should be obvious, but it'll be a big contributor to the end of the world when it does happen. You don't need to be a psychic, a prophet, or a mystic to be very much aware that we are deep in the hellscape of a climate crisis with record high temperatures, wildfires, droughts, and marine life extinction dotting the horizon. Now, we're also going to consult good old Nostradamus for this one. So experts point out the line, the dry earth will grow more parched and there will be great floods when it is seen, when he's referring to 2024. He's also predicted some extreme weather events and world hunger, saying very great famine through pestiferous wave, to be precise, and that's in addition to Baba Vanga saying the same. She has foretold that there will be terrifying weather events and natural disasters this year. So great. 2 for the price of 1. If you're not scared at this point, try this prediction on for size. Terror attacks all over Europe. Baba Vanga really said, you know what, 2024, game over for the world, claiming that the number of attacks would increase all over Europe. And she wasn't alone. Once again, we're going to consult good old Nostradamus as backup here. A devastating nuclear explosion will cause climactic changes and significant depopulation in many European countries. Now, I've mentioned him a couple of times today, so if you don't know who Nostradamus was, he was a French doctor and astrologer. He contributed his knowledge during the plague, famous for his prophecies in which he anticipated the future of humanity until the end of the world. Most famously, he predicted the attack on Twin Towers. And for many centuries, right up until today, his prophecies are studied around the world and announce the events that are to come. Over the years, his predictions have often been associated with important events that have occurred in the world. So, a lot of folks, this one included, believe that Nostradamus has predicted the future and that his predictions have proven to be accurate. Which, that's kind of alarming given the current global situation. So, let's quote him again. For 40 years, the rainbow will not appear. For 40 years it will be seen every day, the dry earth will grow drier and great floods when it is seen. Now, this kind of worries me, especially since nuclear explosions have really changed the world in the past, and we're still in a world that's recovering from the last global epidemic. If we got like a nuclear war, that could yield unprecedented human death tolls and habitat destruction. And detonating large amounts of nuclear weapons would have an immediate short-term and long-term effects on the climate, potentially causing cold weather known as a nuclear winter. And no thanks, I don't do well in -13. If I'm gonna give an example, let's go back to 1982 when Brian Martin estimated that a US-Soviet nuclear exchange would kill 400 to 450 million directly. So like that's the States, Europe, Russia, and maybe 700 million more because of follow-ups, explosives. A lot of scholars have predicted that a global thermonuclear war with Cold War era stockpiles, or even with the current smaller stockpiles, will lead to the end of it all. That's it. Human race wiped out. Just like the dinosaurs. The International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War believe that nuclear war could indirectly contribute to human extinction. So even they're saying it. Via secondary effects, environmental consequences, societal breakdown, economic collapse, the world is still feeling the fallout from the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. And that was back in 1986, which was almost 40 years ago now. Like that was before I was born. I'm only 26. And Chernobyl still really can't be visited. Like you can go visit there, but you gotta burn your clothes afterwards. Imagine that on a much more global scale in today's day and age when there's so many more people on the earth? Absolutely not. Like a lot of people that were living in Chernobyl at the time have since had cancer and it's been repeating over the years. We don't need a repeat of that anytime soon. So I figured I'd end today with the prediction everybody's making for this year. The obvious one, an economic crisis. Great, another recession. No, nobody's saying that. Never. Am I hoping the housing market will crash so I can afford a better apartment? Sure, but I'd like to stay fully employed while that happens, please and thank you. One economist is saying that since 2009, this has been 100% artificial, unprecedented money printing and deficits. Apparently 27 trillion, with a T, over 15 years to be exact. Now, according to him, this is off the charts. Totally artificial, which means we're in a dangerous state. Now, this man's name is Harry Dent, and he thinks 2024 is going to be the biggest single-year crash we'll see in our lifetimes. And if you lived through the late 2000s, I feel you shudder through the screen. He said some more, though. Let's get the direct quote here. I'm the guy that's praying for a crash while everybody else is not. We need to get back down to normal, and we need to send a message to central banks. This should be a lesson I don't think we'll ever revisit. I don't think we'll ever see a bubble for any of our lifetimes ever again. Now, he has spent the majority of his career analyzing proprietary research, crediting his against-the-grain prediction to overvalued markets and excessive stimulus spending. While recent rallies have overwhelmingly provided investors with mild recession expectations, he's very firm that an everything bubble is going to burst this year. Now, historically, market bubbles are characterized by a rapid rapid rise in stock prices before being met by a sharp fall. Now, Dent noted that this bubble actually started in late 2021 after the height of the global panini, with the first signs showing in 2022 when the Nasdaq was down 38%. And according to him, this year's gonna bring the B wave of that crash. Oh bother. Yes, I'm aware that's a bit of a bold statement, so just bear with me here, hold your horses. For those who might not be aware, Putin is a former KGB agent who has been president of Russia since 2012. Now, to go back to that KGB thing, yeah, he worked as KGB foreign intelligence for 16 years, rising to the ranks of lieutenant colonel before resigning in 1991 to begin a political career in St. Petersburg. He's held continuous positions as president or prime minister since 1999, which is about as far back as I can remember, seeing as I was this old at the time. He was prime minister from 1999 to 2000, and from 2008 to 2012, and president from 2000 to 2008, and well, since 2012. He is the longest serving Russian or Soviet leader since Joseph Stalin, and that's not exactly a cute or fun comparison to make. His rise to power was pretty suspicious, with many believing he or his supporters were behind the apartment house explosions in 1999 in Moscow, Buinsk, and Volgodonsk, which provided a pretext for the Second Chechen War and catapulted Putin into the presidency. The evidence is overwhelming that they were carried out by the Russian Federal Security Service, or FSB for short. Russian human rights defenders Sergei Yushchenkov, Shekochikin, Anna Politkovskaya, and Alexander Litvinenko worked to shed light on the apartment explosions, but they all met mysterious and suspicious deaths between 2003 and 2006. Oh, also, back in 2001, we're gonna backtrack for a second, he met with 21 of the richest men in Russia, also known as oligarchs for their spectacular fortunes that were obtained through shady deals, outright corruption, even killings, who at that point had seized control of much of Russia's economy and increasingly its fledgling, democracy. But now their nation's newly elected president, Putin, wanted to tell them, face to face, who was really in charge. He offered them a deal. Bend to my authority, stay out of my way, and you can keep your mansions, super yachts, private jets, and multi-billion-dollar corporations. In the coming years, folks who undermine Putin would be thrown into a Siberian prison, or be forced into exile, or, you guessed it, die in suspicious circumstances. Now those who remained loyal, and who got filthy rich during Putin's long reign, became like ATM machines for the president and his allies. Okay, after all that context about how Putin is a man not to be trifled with, I like to make sure I'm clear. Time to chat about the prediction. For our first prediction today, we turn to famed mystic Baba Vanga. For those who might be unaware of her, yes, I will give context, it's me. She was a Bulgarian mystic and herbalist who passed away in 1996, and she predicted her own death, the death of Princess Diana, and more. She became blind when she was very young and spent most of her life in the Rupit area of the Kuzo Mountains in Bulgaria. In the late 1970s and 80s, she was widely known in Eastern Europe for her abilities of clairvoyance and precognition. Before she passed, she left a list of predictions until the year 5079, and she's been pretty spot on so far. So she has predicted an assassination attempt on Putin by a fellow countryman next, year. That was wrong. So she's predicted an attempt on Putin by a fellow countryman this year. I don't see him going down without any kind of fight, which means if this prediction comes true, Russia is about to cause a whole lot of hell. Well, more than they are already, which doesn't sound good to me. Okay, on that note, let's move on to something a little less explosive, or controversial, the possibility of a nuclear explosion in the UK. Yes, I think I'm funny. And also was kind of kidding there. According to Nostradamus' predictions for this year, a devastating nuclear explosion will cause climactic changes and significant depopulation in many European countries. Now, if you don't know who Nostradamus was, he was a French doctor and astrologer. He contributed his knowledge during the plague, famous for his prophecies, in which he anticipated the future of humanity until the end of the world. He perhaps most famously predicted the attack on Twin Towers. Now, for centuries, and right up until today, his prophecies are studied around the world and announce events that are yet to come. Over the years, his predictions have been associated with important events that have occurred. Many people believe that Nostradamus has predicted the future, and that his predictions, they're pretty accurate, which is kind of alarming given the current global situation. The direct quote reads as follows: "For 40 years the rainbow will not appear. For 40 years it will be seen every day. The dry earth will grow drier and great floods when it is seen." Now this prediction worries me, especially after how much nuclear explosions have changed the world in the past, and we're still in a world that's recovering from the last global panini, if you know what I mean. Nuclear war could yield unprecedented human death tolls and habitat destruction. Detonating large numbers of nuclear weapons would have an immediate short-term and long-term effects on, the climate, potentially causing cold weather known as nuclear winter. And as somebody who shivers in -15, I don't want it to get colder. In 1982, Brian Martin estimated that a US-Soviet nuclear exchange might kill only 400 to 500 million directly. Once again, million, mostly in the United States, Europe, and Russia, and maybe a small little several hundred million more through follow-up consequences in those same areas. Many scholars believe that a global thermonuclear war with Cold War era stockpiles, or even with the current smaller stockpiles, might lead to, no biggie, the extinction of the human race. The International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War believe that nuclear war could indirectly contribute to human extinction via secondary effects, including environmental consequences, societal breakdown, and economic collapse. It has been estimated that a relatively small-scale nuclear exchange between India and Pakistan involving 100, Hiroshima yield weapons, we all know that word, could cause a nuclear winter and kill more than a billion people. The world is still feeling the fallout from the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, and that was back in 1986, which was almost 40 years ago now. That accident occurred during a test of the steam turbine's ability to power the energy feedwater pumps in the event of a simultaneous loss of external power and coolant pipe rupture. Following an accidental drop in reactor power to near zero, the operators restarted the reactor in preparation for the turbine test with a prohibited control rod configuration. Due to a variety of factors, this action resulted in a power surge at the base of the reactor, which brought about the rupture of reactor components and the loss of coolant. Now all of that led to steam explosions and a meltdown, which destroyed the containment building. This was followed by a reactor core fire, which lasted until May 4th of 1986, during which airborne radioactive contaminants were spread through the USSR and Europe. In response to the initial accident, a 10-kilometer radius exclusion zone was created 36 hours after the accident, from which approximately 49,000 people were evacuated, primarily from Pripyat. This exclusion zone was later increased to a radius of 30 kilometers, from which an additional 68,000 people were evacuated. Following the explosion, which killed 2 engineers and severely burned 2 more, an emergency operation to put out the fires and stabilize the surviving reactor began, during which 237 workers were hospitalized, of whom 134 exhibited symptoms of acute radiation syndrome. Among those hospitalized, 28 died within the following 3 months, and in the following 10 years, 14 more, 9 of whom had been hospitalized, died of various causes mostly unrelated to radiation exposure. The most widely cited study conducted by the World Health Organization in 2006 predicted 9,000 cancer-related fatalities in Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. If it wasn't crystal clear enough, we don't need a repeat of that anytime soon. Thank you very much. So next up we have a prediction that might be personally the scariest in my book, the possibility of China going to war. So already last year, 2023, China made headlines with its geopolitical role, and according to Nostradamus, it appears that this quest for power and broader international collaborations is going to continue into this year. Alright, let's go with the quote here. China wages war in a naval battle with the red adversary becoming pale with fear, putting the great ocean in dread. And he's not the only one saying this. Baba Vanga also has some predictions about China for this year. A mighty dragon is due to take over the planet, if you believe what Vanga predicts, and 3 giants, possibly Russia, China, and India, will unite. Sounds depressingly action-packed. Thanks! The most probable spark is a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. So the current president of China has said unifying Taiwan with mainland China must be achieved. His regime has become sufficiently strong, military speaking, and also economically and industrially, to take Taiwan and directly challenge, let's say, the United States for regional supremacy, and challenge, the United States for regional supremacy. The United States has vital strategic interests at stake. A successful Chinese invasion of Taiwan would punch a hole in the US and allied chain of defenses in the region, seriously undermining America's strategic position in the Western Pacific, and would probably cut off US access to world-leading semiconductors and other critical components manufactured in Taiwan, as President Joe Biden has stated repeatedly that he would defend Taiwan. But leaders in Washington also need to avoid stumbling carelessly into a war with China, because it would be unlike anything ever faced by Americans. US citizens have grown accustomed to sending the military off to fight far from home. But China is a different kind of foe. A military that is, economically and technologically capable of making a war felt in the States. The military scenario alone is daunting. China would probably launch a lightning, air, sea, and cyber assault to seize control of key strategic targets on Taiwan within hours before the US and its allies can intervene. China also has more than 1,350 ballistic and cruise missiles poised to, strike the US and allied forces in Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, and American-held territories in the Western Pacific. Then there's the sheer difficulty the United States would face waging war thousands of miles across the Pacific against an adversary that has the world's largest navy and Asia's biggest air force. That's just yikes on yikes on yikes on yikes. I'm terrified. You should be too. Alrighty folks, are you ready for this next possibility? It's a little lighter. the fall of the royal family. That's not something I thought I'd see in this lifetime, but here we are. I know when Queen Elizabeth passed away a couple years ago, the general consensus over Charles taking the throne definitely wasn't enthusiastic. Well, don't worry folks, according to both Nostradamus and Baba Vanga, not only will he be replaced this year, apparently Henry's gonna take the throne. I didn't see that on my bingo card. According to the Complete Prophecies for the Future book, in which Nostradamus' visions were all prescribed, he successfully predicted that Queen Elizabeth II would die around 2022, at the age of approximately 96. He later went on to reveal that Harry would be the one to take the throne after the abdication of Charles III, meaning Queen Elizabeth's death will cause major changes in the monarchy. One of the passages in the prophecies says that a king of the Isles will be driven out by force. Yeah, if we're gonna take his word for it, the relatively new monarch's already on the chopping block. Specific verbiage states that one who will have no mark of a king assuming the throne, which should make for an interesting year of gossip reports. The reason for Charles's future abdication would be, according to the predictions, his advanced age. As for William, the predictions evoke an incapacity that would send his brother on the throne until the young George is old enough to be king. Nostradamus also predicted a celestial fire on the royal building. This indicates a radical transformation in the world, so stay tuned for whatever that could be. Expect some sort of chaos involving the new king, because why not? Finally, to end our list today, climate disasters to end it all. I feel like with the state of global warming, this one should be obvious, but it'll be a big contributor to the end of the world when it does happen. You don't need to be a psychic, prophet, or mystic to be very much aware that we are deep in the hellscape of a climate crisis with record high temperatures, wildfires, droughts, and marine life extinction dotting the horizon. Like, I just finished working outside in what was the mildest winter I've ever worked in. Time to consult good old Nostradamus again though for this one, just to back up my thoughts. Experts point out this line: the dry earth will grow more parched, there will be great floods when it is seen, referring to this year. He also predicted extreme weather events and world hunger, very great famine through a pestiferous wave, to be precise, and he's not alone. Baba Vanga has also chimed in and said ditto. She has foretold that there will be terrifying weather events and natural disasters this year. And that brings us to the end of our time, and I'm not sure if I need to go find a bunker to hide in yet or not.
Imagine if extraterrestrial beings decided to visit Earth. According to a US congressman, part of today's UFO panel, we wouldn't stand a chance against them. Representative Tim Burkett, speaking on the Event Horizon podcast, made it clear, quote, "We are out of our league. We couldn't fight them off if we wanted to. That's why I don't think they're a threat to us, or they would already have been." He even suggested that aliens could effortlessly reduce us to ashes. Burkett is convinced UFOs are real. He pointed out that these alien crafts, which are capable of moving underwater without leaving a heat trace, defy our understanding of physics. The extraterrestrial crafts, quote, "can travel light years or at the speeds that we've seen defy physics as we know it," he added. In July, Burkett was part of a House Representatives group that listened to testimonies from 3 ex-intelligence and military individuals. These testimonies focused on what we now call unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, revealed encounters with unexplainable entities. Burkett, a long-standing believer in UFOs, supported whistleblower David Grush last year. Grush accused the government of concealing alien spacecraft evidence. Speaking to the Washington Examiner, Burkett affirmed his belief in Grush's claims, citing numerous credible witnesses including pilots and astronauts. He expressed his conviction that the government has been withholding this information since the 1947 Roswell incident, possibly even earlier. According to him, the secrecy is so deep-rooted that those who could piece together the puzzle have either left or are unaware of the complete picture. During the hearing, Grush testified alongside Ryan Graves and David Fravor, 2 former US military and intelligence officials. Both claimed to have seen aircrafts that couldn't be of human origin. Could this be the proof we've been looking for, or is it just another chapter in the ongoing mystery of our universe? We spoke about the infamous Baba Vanga on the first part, go check that out if you haven't seen it yet, but of course that means this time we have to take a look at the other world-famous prophet that everyone looks to each year, Nostradamus. Did Nostradamus, the famous 16th century seer, predict an alien invasion? Nostradamus is known for his mysterious and often interpreted verses, and there's one that stands out for its seemingly extraterrestrial implications. This particular quatrain reads something like this: "From the sky will come a great king of terror, bringing back to life the great king of the Mongols. Before and after Mars reigns happily." Now, on the surface, this could be interpreted as a prediction of war and upheaval, which was Nostradamus' usual fare, but let's think bigger. Could this great king of terror from the sky actually be referencing an alien force? Perhaps one that's technologically superior and thus terrifying? The reference to Mars reigning happily adds an intriguing twist. In modern times, Mars is often associated with extraterrestrial life and space exploration. Could Nostradamus have been alluding to a time when the exploration of Mars leads to an unexpected and alarming encounter with alien beings? Now, it's of course crucial to remember that Nostradamus' predictions are notoriously vague and open to interpretation. They're like a puzzle, one that we just can't resist trying to solve. And in this case, the puzzle pieces might just fit together to suggest an alien invasion prophecy. So while it's tempting to imagine that Nostradamus had foreseen an extraterrestrial visitation, it's also important to approach these predictions with a healthy dose of skepticism. After all, the future is not written in the stars, but in the actions and discoveries of humankind. Or is it? Leave you with a little mystery there. When we think about contacting alien civilizations, it's like reaching into a cosmic unknown. But what if the unknown reaches back? Stephen Hawking had some thoughts on this, and they weren't exactly filled with interstellar optimism. He warned about the potential dangers of actively trying to contact extraterrestrial beings. Imagine, for a moment, an advanced alien civilization receiving our messages. They've been zipping through the vastness of space, potentially for eons, way more advanced than we are. If these extraterrestrial beings decided to pay us a visit, it might not be for a friendly intergalactic handshake. I mean, we can draw a parallel with history. Our history. Think about the times Europeans explored new lands and encountered native populations. It wasn't a peaceful exchange of culture and technology, it was more often than not a conquest, a domination, an exercise in imperialism. Now, let's scale that up to a cosmic level. We might not just be talking about a clash of cultures, but a clash of species, civilizations spanning across the stars. This perspective presents a chilling scenario. An advanced civilization, upon finding us, might see Earth not as a place for diplomatic exchange, but as a new territory to conquer or a resource to exploit. This idea flips the narrative of us venturing out into the stars, turning us into the potential ground zero for a cosmic imperial conquest. So when we're sending signals into space, are we naively inviting a storm? Are we, in our search for cosmic companionship, inadvertently knocking on the doors of beings who see the universe not as a community, but as a landscape ripe for the taking? Little something to think about this Wednesday. Have you ever pondered if the classic sci-fi tales we enjoy could be more than just fiction? Let's dive into H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, published in 1898. This isn't just a story, it's a prophetic vision cloaked in the guise of science fiction. Wells presents an unnerving scenario: Martians invading England with technology far beyond human capabilities. Now, this might sound like typical sci-fi fare, but let's think even deeper. Wells was not only crafting a narrative of extraterrestrial invasion, he was subtly hinting at a future where humanity might not be alone in the universe. The precision with which he describes the Martians' advanced weaponry and tactics is eerily prescient, almost as if he's forecasting our own encounters with alien technology. This novel did more than entertain, it sowed seeds of thought about our place in the cosmos. Wells was asking his readers to contemplate a future where Earth could face beings from another world. Fast forward to today with our sophisticated telescopes and Mars rovers, the idea of encountering extraterrestrial life doesn't seem so far-fetched. The War of the Worlds thus morphs from a work of fiction to a speculative blueprint of what might lie ahead. The legacy of Wells' masterpiece is its enduring ability to make us look up at the stars and wonder, what if? What if one day his vision of alien invasion becomes more than just a story? What if it's a glimpse into a future event, a cosmic rendezvous that humanity might one day face? In the War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells may have been giving us a forewarning, wrapped in the thrilling package of a science fiction novel. Okay, so this is one that happened recently, and while not really a prediction, it's more of a theory about something being kept secret from the public. Yes, of course, I am talking about the Miami Mall incident. We truly have to discuss it because whatever is going on there is so strange. The scene at Bayside Marketplace Mall was a chaotic one, with about 50 teenagers reportedly causing havoc, setting off fireworks, and engaging in fisticuffs. But here's where it gets weird. Online, particularly on Twitter or X or whatever I'm supposed to call it, stories began to circulate, not about the teen ruckus, but about the alleged presence of an 8 to 10 foot tall shadowy figure, presumed to be an alien. The plot thickens with a video from above the mall, showing an army of police cars, their sirens wailing. Some counted up to 60 of them. Okay? It's not often that you get a police response like that. Adding fuel to the alien fire, a video surfaced showing what some claimed was a large shadowy being right outside the mall. This sparked a flurry of conspiracy theories. One TikTok user at @anti_coulette went viral, claiming multiple eyewitness accounts of these gigantic beings. Another user at sosa.pippin claimed to have seen a huge shadowy figure that appeared and vanished amidst what they thought were maybe shots going off. The internet did what it does best: meme making. One user quipped about the number of police cars, while another pointed out the lack of close-up footage of the supposed alien. CBS News Miami's officer Michael Vega tried to set the record straight, emphasizing the teens' altercation and firmly denying any extraterrestrial involvement. And James Torres, head of Miami's Downtown Neighbors Alliance, explained the heavy police response was due to a mistaken report of an active shooter, not an alien invasion. In the end, 4 people were arrested, and by the early morning hours, normalcy returned, but in the digital world, the legend of the Miami Mall aliens lives on. Because, after all, the internet never forgets. Did you know that the renowned prophetess Baba Wenga foretold the arrival of an asteroid named Oumuamua? She believed that this extraterrestrial object, which breezed past Earth in 2017, was a probe sent by alien life forms in search of intelligent life on our planet. Intriguingly, this theory echoes the thoughts of several scientists, including Harvard University's A.V. Loeb, who initially proposed that Oumuamua might be an extraterrestrial spacecraft. Before her passing, Wenga foretold a dramatic scenario set to unfold. According to her, extraterrestrial beings would orchestrate an invasion of Earth. This event, she claimed, would be heralded by the arrival of an asteroid, a celestial harbinger sent to probe our planet for signs of life. This all becomes a little unsettling when we think of the accurate predictions of Oumuamua, and the plot only thickens when we realize her vision painted a grim picture of the intentions behind this extraterrestrial visit. Wenga asserted that the alien forces would not arrive with peaceful intentions. Instead, she predicted a hostile encounter, stating, quote, "Alien ships will attack the Earth and they will bomb cities and take people prisoner." Such a stark prophecy resonates with the themes of classic science fiction, evoking images of interstellar conflict and humanity's struggle for survival. Wenga's reputation as a seer was bolstered by her history of ostensibly accurate predictions concerning significant global events. Wenga's believers continue to credit her with other accurate foretellings, such as the Chernobyl disaster, India's independence, and the breakup of Yugoslavia. Next up, we have this person who calls himself a time traveler and who has been sounding the alarm about an impending alien invasion. And guess what? According to him, these aliens have already landed and whisked away 8,000 people from our planet. This revelation, presented through through a video has racked up an impressive 161,000 views and even more incredulous comments. Fans are left wondering if he's misplaced his flux capacitor. Introducing Eno Alaric, also known as @the Radiant Time Traveler on social media. This individual claims to be a time traveler from the year 2671, and he regularly shares his end of days predictions with his 400,000 followers on TikTok. In a video posted on March 23rd, 2023, he announces, quote, "The champion has arrived to bring 8,000 people to another planet. He has been warning us about a very hostile alien species called the Distance, who are supposedly here to reclaim their Earth." In his ominous video predictions, complete with psychedelic cosmic visuals and a dramatic soundtrack that could be straight out of a blockbuster disaster film, he states that this is a battle we are not going to win. Is there any truth to this tale? Despite Eno Alaric's insistence, many doubt the authenticity of his claims. I mean, fair enough, I am a skeptic at heart. Some skeptics believe that he may be suffering from delusions or possibly mental illness, while others think he is just a clever hoaxer looking for fame and fortune. Whatever the case may be, one thing is for sure: his predictions have captured the attention of the internet and have sparked countless debates and conspiracy theories. So is this just another viral sensation, or is there something more to Eno Alaric's story? Some argue that his predictions may hold some truth given our advancements in technology and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. Others believe he may be a time traveler from an alternate universe, warning us about potential dangers. Regardless of the validity of his claims, one thing is certain: Eno has become a household name, and his words have left an imprint on pop culture. Whether he's a hoaxer or a true time traveler, only time will tell. Next up today, we have who people refer to as Brazil's Nostradamus. In his forecast for 2024, he envisions a year of profound transformation, particularly in the realm of artificial intelligence. He postulates the awakening of AI, evolving to a level of self-awareness, potentially sparking a rebellion led by the machines. I'm sure my ChatGPT has some things it would like to say to me. A self-professed seer, he also foresees an extraordinary event for humankind: the first contact with extraterrestrial life. But fear not, according to him, this won't be a harrowing alien invasion. Instead, he predicts that a sophisticated network of telescopes will intercept encrypted signals, forming the basis of our communication with these otherworldly beings. In fact, Salom believes that this first contact will be of a peaceful nature, initiating a time of great technological advancements and deeper understanding of the universe. In fact, Salom predicts that it will be a moment of great wonder and curiosity as we will reach out to the stars and discover that we are in fact not alone in this vast, giant universe. He believes that this encounter will bring about a new era of scientific advancement and just a general understanding of our place in the cosmos. The predictions of 2024, as foreseen by Salom, are truly compelling to say the least. His forecast of a peaceful first contact with extraterrestrial life, rather than a frightful alien invasion, could change the course of human history. His theory is not something that major space agencies such as NASA can just casually dismiss. With advancements in technology and our increasing ability to explore the cosmos, the idea of intercepting encrypted signals from otherworldly beings is becoming less science fiction and more a plausible reality. This could usher in a groundbreaking era of cosmic understanding and unprecedented technological progress, and Salom's predictions, if proven true, would redefine our understanding of life beyond Earth, opening myriad of possibilities for interstellar communication and even collaboration. As we start off 2024, it is truly exciting to contemplate the potential for these extraordinary events and their impact on our world. The future is full of endless possibilities, and we can only wait and see what 2024 has in store for us. Next up, we are diving into the world of the renowned Israeli-British magician, psychic, and illusionist Uri Geller, who firmly believes that an alien invasion is imminent. Geller, famous for his spoon-bending trick, made an intriguing revelation on Instagram. He shared, quote, "A group scanning the universe's radio waves has detected something peculiar. A unique entity is releasing huge energy bursts thrice an hour, unlike anything previously observed by astronomers. I'm convinced this is linked to an extraterrestrial intelligence vastly superior to ours. We need to start decoding decoding their signals, they're gearing us up for a significant collective landing soon. Geller had previously forecasted that aliens will be initiating contact with us, stating their landing spot could likely be the White House lawn or something similar. Our sci-fi movies about alien interactions will turn into a reality. I don't believe it will take hundreds or even thousands of years. If I had to make a reasonable, logical prediction, I'd say it's going to happen in 60 to 75 years. Uri Geller's claims have sparked a lot of debate and skepticism, with many dismissing his predictions as mere speculation. However, Geller firmly stands by his beliefs and has even offered to assist in decoding any potential signals from extraterrestrials. Interestingly, Geller is not the first person to claim that an alien invasion is on the horizon. Many renowned scientists and researchers have also speculated about the possibility of alien life and the potential for contact with advanced civilizations. One of the most famous examples is the Drake equation, created by American astronomer Frank Drake. The equation attempts to estimate the number of active communicative extraterrestrial civilizations in our galaxy. While the exact answer remains unknown, it suggests that there could be a significant number of advanced civilizations out there. Recent advancements in technology have also increased our ability to search for and potentially communicate with extraterrestrial life. I'm looking at you, James Webb Telescope. What's out there? You're showing us photos of the galaxy from the distant ancient past. It's crazy. Another example is the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence program, which uses radio telescopes to scan the skies for any potential signals from another planet. If the aliens are out there, call us. We just want to talk. I have at least 3 questions. And finally, rounding out our list today, we have the predictions of Nick Pope, a former UFO investigator for the UK's Ministry of Defence and now a British freelance journalist. He has made some intriguing comments about alien life. In an episode of Blaze TV's Indistinguishable from Magic, he made a striking statement. Quote, "Should we come across aliens, or if they discover us, it would completely transform our world." He recalls attending a pair of meetings at the Royal Society in London, where the implications of extraterrestrial existence were the main topic. He posed an interesting question. Quote, "If we encounter alien life and it's more than just receiving signals or discovering alien microbes, will they be friendly, like the beloved ET, or more like the hostile aliens from Independence Day, seeking our destruction?" He noted that opinions were divided at the Royal Society on this issue. Citing another professor's words, Pope concluded with a stark warning. Quote, "If we get a call from Cosmos, think twice before answering." He expressed his concern that it might already be too late, as our civilization has been detectable for decades via our television and radio signals reaching space. This implies that any alien civilization with the capacity to pose a threat to us is likely already aware of our existence. Nick Pope also discussed the ethical considerations surrounding potential contact with extraterrestrial life. He believes that any advanced alien species should be respected and treated as equals, rather than potentially exploited for their advanced technology. This raises questions about whether humanity is ready for such a significant encounter, and whether we have the maturity to handle it responsibly. We don't. Spoiler alert, there's no way that we deserve aliens, not a chance. Pope further elaborated on the potential impact of contact with aliens on religion and the implications it would have on our understanding of the universe. He asserted that while some religious beliefs may not be able to withstand such a revelation, it could also potentially bring about a new era of spiritual enlightenment as we grapple with our understanding of our place in the cosmos alongside other intelligent beings. He also discussed the potential for collaboration and cooperation between humans and extraterrestrial beings. He believes that such an encounter could lead to advancements in science and technology, as well as exchange ideas and knowledge with a more advanced civilization. However, he also acknowledged the possibility of negative consequences if we are not prepared for contact with aliens. He warned that it could potentially lead to panic and chaos among the general public, and called for governments and scientists to have contingency plans in place for such a scenario. His comments make you think about the potential impact that contact with alien life really could have on our world. It could bring about immense changes and advancements, but also poses ethical considerations and potential dangers. Whether or not we are truly prepared for such an event remains to be seen, but it is a topic that continues to intrigue and captivate us. Who knows what secrets and mysteries await us in the vast expanse of the universe? As we continue to search for answers and make progress in our understanding, it is clear that the potential discovery of extraterrestrial life would be a defining moment in human history. Let's hope that when the time comes, we are ready to face whatever lies beyond our planet with curiosity, respect, and open minds.
Number 5. Quantum computing advancements and cyber threats. The world is currently experiencing a major machine learning revolution, with generative AI technologies like ChatGPT making headlines. Mainstream press often overlooks the rapid and startling progress surrounding the field of quantum computing as well. Quantum computers utilizing quantum mechanical effects and qubits instead of traditional bits have the capability to solve problems at a much faster rate than conventional computers. Quantum computing is complex, and despite what some people think, it is a real-world phenomenon that is advancing very swiftly. It involves the manipulation of quantum bits, which results in the allowance of unprecedented computational power. The development of this technology is not a mere science fiction concept, but an actual occurrence. Baba Wenga is said to have foreseen a breakthrough in quantum computing during our time. If this prediction materializes in 2024, it has the potential to significantly accelerate the ongoing AI revolution, impacting people worldwide. Research in quantum computing corroborates the potential for revolutionary advancements. Companies and research institutions globally are investing heavily in quantum technology, aiming to harness its power for solving complex problems in various fields. The integration of quantum computing with AI could also lead to unprecedented breakthroughs, as both technologies continue to evolve far too quickly in my opinion. Alongside this prediction, Baba Wenga also foresaw an increase in cyber attacks. The prophecy suggests that hackers with advanced skills will target crucial infrastructure, including water treatment facilities and electricity grids, posing a threat to national security. This aligns with the growing concerns in cybersecurity as technology advances, making critical systems more susceptible to sophisticated cyber threats. As the world witnesses the convergence of quantum computing and artificial intelligence, the predictions made by Baba Wenga gain attention, prompting reflection on the potential implications for global cybersecurity. The anticipation of an accelerated AI revolution and heightened cyber threats underscores the need for robust security measures to safeguard critical infrastructure and ensure the responsible development and deployment of these transformative technologies, especially with the new advanced technology that we are going to be seeing in the near future. Number 4. An economic crisis. This one is by far the scariest on the list. Money, debt, financial crises. Baba Wenga predicted that the world economy would face a severe crisis triggered by factors such as escalating debt levels and heightened geopolitical conflicts. Research indicates that the global economic landscape is indeed facing challenges, with these elements contributing to concerns about economic stability. Current data shows a significant increase in global debt levels. According to the International Monetary Fund, the world's total debt reached a record high of $281 trillion in 2021. High debt levels constrain economies, limiting their ability to respond to economic downturns and increasing the risk of financial crises. And no matter how many times people explain global debt to me, I will never understand it. Who is the earth in debt to? Like, yeah, governments and large corporations, but that's all their debt. I don't know why it has to affect me. I didn't spend it. Geopolitical conflicts are also impacting the world economy. Ongoing tensions between major global players contribute to uncertainty in international markets. Trade disputes, sanctions, and geopolitical unrest can disrupt global supply chains, affecting businesses and causing huge fluctuations in financial markets. The prediction aligns with the real-world economic challenges as countries grapple with the aftermath of worldwide events. The most recent event has led to economic contractions, job losses, and disruptions in various industries. Efforts to recover have been hindered by increasing debt burdens and geopolitical tensions. The interconnectedness of the global economy means that isolated events in one region can have widespread repercussions. Geopolitical conflicts such as trade wars or territorial disputes can lead to economic sanctions and impact the flow of goods and services between nations. The World Economic Outlook report by the IMF emphasizes the need for coordinated international efforts to address economic challenges. It highlights the importance of resolving trade tensions and fostering cooperation to promote sustainable economic growth. Number 3. Bioweapon deployment and designer humans. Baba Vanga is credited with an unsettling and disconcerting prediction involving a big country conducting biological weapon tests or attacks. The use of biological weapons is a grave concern with potential catastrophic consequences. Extensive research indicates that various countries have historically explored biological warfare capabilities, raising international apprehension about the ethical and security implications of such actions. Another prediction attributed to Baba Vanga reaches into the realm of human reproduction and genetic manipulation. The notion of humans being grown and born in laboratories sparks contemplation about the future of genetic engineering and its potential impact on childbirth. While the precise specifics of Baba Vanga's vision remain unclear, advancements in genetic testing, IVF, and childbirth technologies are major subjects of ongoing scientific exploration. Current research confirms that genetic testing is rapidly advancing, offering insights into potential health risks and allowing for more informed family planning decisions. IVF continues to evolve, providing hope and happiness for couples facing fertility challenges. While the idea of designing humans to specific parental specifications may be more speculative, the field of genetic engineering is progressing and it is prompting ethical discussions and considerations about the potential societal implications of manipulating human genetics. Now, when it says ethical, that's a pretty loose term because designer humans would be the downfall of humans. While the creation of humans in laboratories may seem far-fetched, the accelerating pace of scientific discovery invites contemplation about the ethical boundaries and societal impacts of emerging technologies. In the coming years, the convergence of genetic research, reproductive technologies, and ethical considerations may reshape how humans approach childbirth. While the specific details, again, of Baba Vanga's predictions may not materialize exactly as described, the broader themes highlight the potential for significant transformations in the fields of genetics and reproductive science. Society's response to these advancements will likely be shaped by ongoing debates surrounding ethics, privacy, and the responsible use of emerging technologies. Just a small tangent as to why I don't think genetically modified humans are a good idea. Okay, could you imagine the superiority? It would actually allow people to create like a master race, and they would be able to justify the new race's superiority by their genetic tinkering, because they would literally be built to emanate perfection. It's no. Number 2, orbit alteration. Baba Vanga made predictions about astronomical events beyond solar flares. Among her long list of predictions is the claim that Earth's orbit will undergo a significant alteration. Scientifically, the orbits of celestial bodies in the solar system are influenced by gravitational forces, primarily forces from the sun. While minor fluctuations are expected and accounted for over time, substantial alterations to Earth's orbit would have giant consequences. Research into the astrophysics indicates that celestial bodies, including Earth, experience gravitational interactions with other objects in the solar system. These interactions, however, typically result in gradual changes to orbits that occur over extended periods of time. The idea of a sudden and radical alteration to Earth's orbit raises a plethora of concerns surrounding potential catastrophic outcomes. Climate disruption is one consequence of a significant change in Earth's orbit. The Earth's distance from the sun affects its climate, and any abrupt shift could lead to unpredictable weather patterns, altered seasons, and disruptions to the ecosystem. Such changes would have cascading effects on agriculture, water resources, and overall environmental stability. Another consequence would be an increase in radiation levels. The Earth's position in its orbit plays a very important role in shielding it from the bulk of the sun's radiation. A sudden alteration would expose the planet to higher levels of solar radiation, posing risks to living organisms and impacting technological systems. Elevated radiation levels have the potential to harm human health, damage electronic equipment, and interfere with communication systems. And we love our electronic equipment, so I think there would be some upset. An altered orbit also introduces the possibility of, well, widespread chaos. The interconnectedness of global systems, including transportation, communication, and energy infrastructure, means that any significant disruption could have cascading effects on societies worldwide. The abrupt nature of such an unexpected event would likely limit humanity's ability to adapt accordingly and mitigate the consequences. While scientific understanding affirms that gravitational forces can influence orbits, the idea of a sudden and extreme alteration remains speculative. Number 1. Drastic weather events. Baba Vanga predicted that the world would experience severe weather events and natural disasters in the near future. Current research on the world's environmental state supports this, especially when we are met with the reality of increasing frequency and intensity of such incidents. Climate change is a significant and honestly the leading factor contributing to extreme weather events. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, there's clear evidence that human human activities such as burning fossil fuels and deforestation are causing global temperatures to rise. Crazy! This warming contributes to more frequent and severe weather events, including hurricanes, wildfires, floods, and heat waves. In recent years, various regions of the world have witnessed devastating natural disasters. The United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction reported that the number of weather-related disasters has more than doubled over the past 40 years. These disasters would include hurricanes like Katrina and Harvey, wildfires in Australia and California, and floods affecting South Asia and Europe. Baba Vanga's prediction aligns with the scientific consensus on the increasing occurrence of extreme weather events. The impacts of these disasters extend beyond immediate physical damage, affecting communities, economies, and ecosystems. Research also emphasizes the immense importance of addressing environmental issues to mitigate the severity and frequency of natural disasters. Sustainable practices such as reducing greenhouse gas emissions, protecting natural habitats, and adopting resilient, environmentally friendly infrastructure are all crucial for building protective and preventative measures against the impacts of climate change. The prediction also coincides with global efforts to address environmental challenges. Several international agreements aim to limit global temperature increases and promote sustainable development. The urgency to implement and enforce these measures remains a critical aspect of mitigating the environmental factors contributing to severe weather events. As Baba Vanga's prediction resonates with the observable trends in our environment, it reinforces the need for collective action to address climate change. The ongoing conversation on environmental conservation and sustainable practices reflects a global recognition of the challenges derived from the quickly changing climate and the importance of proactive measures to protect our planet and its inhabitants.
In 5th place, we have an onslaught of natural disasters. Alrighty, so time for some context, since not all of today's predictions are coming from the same AI source, and also I like to make sure I'm as crystal clear as possible with all of y'all out there. The Daily Star asked popular AI language model ChatGPT to write its own prophecies with the help of legendary French astrologer Nostradamus, and proceeded to publish the text conversation between the AI and Nostradamus, which resulted in 7 new predictions over the next 100 years. So Nostradamus was famous for his predictions made in the 1500s, which some believe foretold modern events, such as the rise of Adolf with the last name this platform doesn't like, the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and the September 11 attacks, in addition to thousands of predictions that he published in his book Les Prophéties 467 years ago, to be exact. Oh, and before I forget, the definition of natural disaster is a disaster with links to natural hazards that can cause loss of life or damaged property, and typically leaves economic damage in its wake. The severity of the damage depends on the affected population's resilience and on the infrastructure available. Examples of natural hazards include avalanche, coastal flooding, cold wave, earthquake, hail, heat wave, hurricane, ice storm, landslide, lightning, riverine flooding, strong wind, tornado, typhoon, tsunami, volcanic activity, wildfire, and winter weather, just to name a few. A disaster is a result of a natural or human-made hazard impacting a vulnerable community, and in modern times the difference between natural, human-made, and human-accelerated disasters is a whole lot of messy gray area. Human choices and activities like architecture, fire, resource management, and climate change can play a role in causing natural disasters. Now, if that sounds super heckin' convoluted, it's because it very much is. And many brainy scholars have been saying that the term natural disaster is unsuitable and should be abandoned. Oh, right. The prediction. Pardon me, I got sidetracked. Humanity's fight against climate change may reach its peak in less than 30 years, as the AI Nostradamus warns that 2050 may be a year plagued by natural disasters that terrorize people all over the world. The prediction says, in 2050 there will be a storm, while climate change will wreak havoc again, there will be fires, floods, and hurricanes. Nature will unleash a terrible surprise. Man must scramble to find a way to fix the earth before he goes astray, but greed and indifference will take their toll, a stark reminder of the role of humanity. Well, that feels pretty biblical. After everything humanity has gone through in the last few years, I'm hoping this winds up being a whole lot of bunk. We've gone through enough major crap for a generation. Thanks! In 4th place, we have the AI revolution. This is the other listing on this list that came from Nostradamus and ChatGPT, and this is where I admit I'm not any kind of AI overall expert. The AI warned that humans might fall into fear and anxiety of the artificial intelligence revolution in 2060. The prediction says, in 2060, robots and machines will develop, it will be a vibrant revolution, industries must be reshaped all over the world, but fear and anxiety will also loom as jobs and futures are lost. A person must adapt to learn again, to coexist with and penetrate technology. Well, that's just terrifying. Learn to coexist with? I have a feeling it's not talking about simply introducing grandparents to how a smartphone works. Before today, all I knew about ChatGPT was the occasional meme, and I had a friend once ask me if I, used it to write these videos, which I was horrified could even be a reality. I promise you all, my words here and always will be My own. Yes, I'm the kind of gal who says stuff like cripes and euchred on a regular basis. Now you might be asking, okay Alexa, that's cute and all, but how is it relevant? Well, has anyone seen iRobot? Or heck, like done any research on ChatGPT? For the folks like me who had no idea on what the heck the basis of ChatGPT was until now, allow me to share what I've learned today. ChatGPT, which is short for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer, was developed by OpenAI and launched on November 30th of 2022. The goal is to enable users to refine and steer a conversation towards a desired length, format, style, level of detail, and language used. Successive prompts and replies are taken into account at each stage of the conversation as a context. By January of this year, it had become the fastest growing consumer software application in history, gaining over 100 million users. Within months, Google, Baidu, and Meta accelerated the development of their competing projects, Palm E, ErnieBot, and Llama, to be specific. Now, some folks have expressed concern over the potential of ChatGPT to displace or atrophy human intelligence, and I'm on that team for sure. Going back to mentioning iRobot, because I sure as heck wasn't going to leave that as a statement without a follow-up, if that movie taught me anything other than, just how underrated Alan Tudyk is as a performer, it's that over-reliance and giving too much agency to AI and technology will only cause a cluster mess of epic proportions. In third place, we have an alien invasion. Dolly is a machine learning model that was created by OpenAI to conjure up unusual images from keyword prompts. Created in 2021, so ergo before ChatGPT, it is known as a transformer language model that can turn almost any idea into images. Not gonna lie, whenever I say transformer, I do giggle a little bit because I can't help but think about like the dang toy and movie franchise. Now, this AI was named after WALL-E, and while I love a good Disney and Pixar reference, that doesn't make any of this less scary to me. When asked what extraterrestrials would look like if they visited planet Earth, the AI produced several concept images. One depicted an eerie, robot-like figure standing in a desert with flying saucers above. Another image showed two humans wearing jeans and jumpers having their heads zapped off by a UFO. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, the creepy AI also conjured a strange naked silver figure running through a field towards a flying saucer. Now here's the thing. Do I believe in aliens? Before I started doing research on them all the time, I might have said no, but now I very much do. I think they're genuinely out there, watching us humans from a distance, occasionally popping their heads down and visiting. Am I afraid of them? 90% of the time my answer to that is no, but after seeing those depictions, it's a little more worrisome. Before someone comments about discrepancies between alien tales over the years, I'd like to state that I firmly believe that visitors coming from different planets and solar systems probably all just look different. And so do humans. In second place, AI is gonna take over the world. The TikTok account Robot Overlords claims to have asked AI how it's gonna take over the world. Because sure, that's not gonna produce any kind of nightmares whatsoever. The TikToker hasn't clearly stated which AI is being used to generate the images, but they do use the hashtag Dolly too. So I'm assuming it's the same bot I just talked about with the aliens. Great, I'm gonna keep shivering from fear until I go to sleep at this rate. The images revealed in the short video show masses of scary machines. Some of the imagined robots are shown towering over humans. One scene even looks like some last remaining humans moving through a robot city. The TikTok video has over 43,000 likes, but some viewers were more pleased than others. One TikTok user wrote, "Don't put that in their heads." Another joked, "Just spray some water on it." And while joking about gremlins are funny, I repeat, has no one watched iRobot or heard of Superbia? Okay, that last one might be a niche reference, I'll admit it, but there are plenty of examples out in the world as to why we should not rely on tech to the point of dependence. And in our first place, we have AI predicting political stance from photographs. Yep, you heard me correctly. Unlike all the other spots on today's list, this was actually a full, in-depth study that almost had me spit out my water when I first read it. An honest-to-goodness study in Denmark found that artificial intelligence algorithms can help predict a person's political ideology based on their facial characteristics. The tech found right-wing politicians were more likely to have happy facial expressions in photos, while people pictured with neutral facial expressions were more likely to identify as left-wing. It used deep learning to predict ideology from facial photographs using expressions, beauty, and extra facial information, and found that AI can predict a person's political ideology with 61% accuracy when analyzing a photo of a person. That may not sound like a lot when the usual guess is 50%, but that's a big extra 11%. Deep learning, a method in AI where computer scientists teach computers to learn and process information similar to humans, can be used to make predictions about people based on photographs alone, which is what the researchers explained in their very fancy paper on this. The scientists tried to pin down exactly what information contributes to the predictive success of these techniques. According to the researchers, humans as a whole are able to read another person's face and make judgments almost immediately about personality, intelligence, and even political ideology, so I guess they guess, why can't robots do the same thing? Intelligence and even political ideology, so I guess they guess, Why can't robots do the same thing? Yeah, that doesn't sit well with me. Study author Stig Rasmussen of Aarhus University and his colleagues explored, if computational neural networks, which are algorithms that mimic the structure and function of human brains, can predict a person's political ideology based on a single photo alone. The scientists trained the neural network with thousands of photos of politicians from the nation's 2017 municipal elections, noting the elections were not highly polarized nor competitive. They did away with any photos of candidates who were not explicitly left or right-wing, were not of European ethnic origin, or had been photographed with a beard. To make the playing field as leveled as possible, the photos only depicted the facial features of the candidates, not photos with backgrounds that could alter predictions. The researchers were left with 4,647 photos of political candidates, 1,442 of which depicted female politicians. The researchers used facial expression recognition technology from Microsoft to measure the emotional state seen in the photos, as well as other algorithms to determine attractiveness and even masculinity of the candidates. They also used a handful of photos of Danish politicians to test the algorithm's accuracy. All in all, the research found that the AI trained on the data could accurately predict ideology to the tune of 61%, showing the algorithms could predict political affiliation better than pure chance. They wrote that the results confirmed the threat to privacy posed by deep learning approaches, and no kidding! The research found female politicians who were more attractive were more likely conservative, while attractiveness and masculinity for men was not tied to political ideology. Faces of both men and women who appeared happier were also more likely to be right-wing, while neutral facial expressions meant the politicians were more likely members of the left-wing parties. The study added that, though it was more rare, women who showed contempt on their faces were more likely left-leaning. Honestly, while I'd love to see that expanded in theory, the thoughts of how this could be used for awful things in profiling terrify me. Someone somewhere would totally use this to discriminate in some sort of hiring situation, and that just does not sit well at all with me. And that brings us to the end of our time, and I'm hoping these are the top 5 predictions that never come true or get further developed, even though I'm sure they will, which I'm very much not a fan of. I'll stick with not knowing the future, thanks. And besides, it can always change at a moment's notice, no matter what the fates say. Number 5, music mind control. So in a 2001 episode of The Simpsons, Bart and his friends form a new band that unwittingly becomes part of a psychological operations project by the Navy Department. The band's purpose is to disseminate subliminal messages to young folks through their music, and their most popular track in this episode is titled Drop Da Explosive, with a B. Now, as we know, The Simpsons has gained quite the reputation for predicting future events, so some people speculate that the portrayal of a psyops project involving subliminal messages in music might not be entirely far-fetched. We all remember Josie and the Pussycats, right? That was happening there. The concept raises questions about the power of music and its potential impact on shaping beliefs and behaviors, echoing concerns that have been expressed over the years about the influence of media, including music, on young minds. Research on the impact of music on individuals has yielded mixed findings. While some studies suggest that music can influence mood, behavior, and even cognitive abilities, the idea of subliminal messages in music having a significant and lasting effect is widely debated within the scientific community. Even the concept of subliminal messaging itself is controversial, with limited evidence supporting its efficiency in the real world. The idea that, like hip-hop lyrics in particular, may have a brainwashing effect has been a topic of discussion amongst various groups. Some folks argue that certain lyrics perpetuate negative stereotypes and glamorize harmful behaviors, potentially influencing vulnerable individuals. On the other hand, most hip-hop creations emphasize artistic expression, storytelling, and of course, cultural significance, challenging the notion of a direct link between lyrics and behavioral outcomes. This episode from '01 taps into the cultural fascination with the potential influence of music on individuals, and definitely leaves us curious about whether or not this is something we may see in the near future. Once again, I repeat, Josie and the Pussycats did it as well. Number 4, suppression of green energy. So in episode 582, the character of Lisa creates a solar-powered car for the alternative energy derby, but her vehicle's demise occurs when the Duff blimp obstructs the sun, raising questions about corporate interests hindering the advancement of green energy. Concerns about corporations impeding the popularity of green energy are obviously not fictional. In reality, several industries have displayed interest in maintaining the status quo of non-renewable energy sources for their own monetary gain. Let's just take, fossil fuel companies for instance. They thrive on the continued consumption of oil, gas, and coal. The shift towards green energy would jeopardize their dominance in the market, leading to corporate resistance against widespread adoption in the general population. Major automotive companies, invested heavily in traditional combustion engine technologies, and the rise of electric vehicles poses a direct threat to their established market share and profitability. As green energy gains momentum, some of these corporations may resist the transition in a selfish attempt to protect their existing business models. Utility companies reliant on conventional power generation methods could also oppose widespread adoptions of renewable energy. The anti-monetary nature of renewable sources like solar and wind threatens the power distribution systems they have long controlled and dominated. This potential loss of control and revenue could motivate these these companies to resist the transition to green energy. As always, political factors play a role in hindering the growth of, green energy. Some governments have historically maintained close ties with fossil fuel industries, often influencing policies that favor non-renewable energy sources. Pipelines that destroy ecosystems in people's homes? The power and financial contributions of these industries further complicate the possible transition to greener energy landscapes. The episode from The Simpsons may simply be a humorous take on the potential influence of corporate interests in, impeding the progress of green energy, but sadly, in reality, industries such as fossil fuels, automotive, and utilities have financial and structural reasons to resist the widespread adoption of renewable energy sources. So yeah, not too far-fetched in my opinion. Personally, I've always said the reason we don't have flying cars is because, well, that would take away a lot of money from big corporations, and big corporations don't like losing money. We've all been watching the strikes this year, right? Number 3, robot takeover. In 2012, The Simpsons made a prediction about mass automation. A fancy way of saying they depicted a world where robots replaced human workers, which is a scenario that seems increasingly plausible with every day that passes. Also, back in 1994, in an episode titled Itchy and Scratchy Land, the show ventured into the realm of AI. The Simpson family visited a theme park staffed with robots that ultimately malfunction, leading to a scary and chaotic outcome. This fictional portrayal of a robot uprising bears an eerie resemblance to the concerns raised by a man who is often hailed as the father of artificial intelligence. And yes, this man has a name, but I can only pronounce it once. Schmidhuber. He anticipates that AI superintelligence will usher in rapid technological advancements, bringing about profound transformations in society within a mere 30 years. And we're seeing AI more and more these days. His prediction aligns with the current trajectory of AI development. So as technology continues to evolve, urges society to navigate the evolving landscape of technology with extreme caution. Signs of robotic automation are already prevalent, supporting The Simpsons' prophetic vision. Machines and algorithms are assuming roles traditionally held by humans, sparking debates about the future of manual human work. The fear of job displacement due to automation is mirroring the anxieties portrayed, in the animated series. Discussions about AI ethics and regulation are gaining traction. Policymakers and experts grapple with the challenge of striking a balance between innovation and the responsible deployment of AI. The need for proactive measures to manage the potential risks associated with unchecked technological growth is pretty clear. The Simpsons foresaw a world where automation disrupts the workforce, and we're living in a world where this notion is becoming more and more obvious each day. Robots causing displacement in 2024? Not too far off. Once again, do we all remember iRobot? Did that not teach you anything? Other than, Alan Tudyk is severely underrated. Number 2, virtual, everything. So in this episode's futuristic setting, Homer and Marge indulge in virtual fudge through VR glasses and feeding tubes. Despite the virtual nature and the promise of no calories, Homer's love for junk food remains unabated. In a bizarre turn of events, Mr. Burns hires the Simpsons to become his live-in virtual reality family. However, an interesting twist unfolds as Homer is deliberately excluded from this virtual family setup, allowing Mr. Burns to assume the role of the father. Left in solitude, Homer discovers a new companion in Julia, his girl next door neighbor, who shares his habits and preferences in eating, drinking, and thinking. Royal Caribbean is exploring the integration of virtual reality into the dining experience for cruise line guests. The concept involves transporting diners to different settings with each bite, offering a unique and immersive culinary journey. Cornell University's food scientists have delved into the realm of virtual reality as well, discovering that consuming cheese in a pleasant VR environment enhances the overall taste experience. So this narrative in The Simpsons reflects a speculation about the direction in which our world might be heading. The show imagines a future where virtual reality infiltrates everyday life, not only in entertainment and dining, but also in the dynamics of personal relationships. The example of a virtual family for hire mirrors the newfound reliance on technology for social interactions, and the blurring lines between reality and simulation. The exploration of VR-enhanced dining experiences by real-world entities like Royal Caribbean aligns with the show's previously mirrored satirical take on technological advancements. It highlights society's fascination with merging the virtual and physical realms, seeking to elevate mundane activities such as eating into otherworldly multisensory experiences, which is just, I'm not gonna get into it. You don't need to hear me vent for a million years and a half, but goodness gracious. Yes, The Simpsons mainly serves as a satirical mirror reflecting contemporary trends and societal obsessions, but with each passing year, their previous observations look a little less satirical and a lot more literal. Remember when they predicted that Disney was gonna own them? That one boggled my mind. Number 1, environmental disaster. So The Simpsons movie portrays an environmental catastrophe triggered by Homer Simpson's reckless disposal of pig waste into Springfield Lake, which exacerbates an already critical pollution situation. The event leads to a response from the president, who encapsulates the entire town of Springfield under a glass dome to contain the contamination. While the movie's plot takes an exaggerated and implausible turn, the underlying environmental concerns it raises do resonate with real-world issues. The film's premise parallels actual environmental crises, where water pollution has posed significant threats to communities and ecosystems globally. The dumping of pollutants into water bodies like Homer's Careless Act has led to severe consequences in various regions. The movie's exaggerated scenario, of course, serves as a satirical reflection of the potential severity of such pollution incidents, but it's becoming more uncanny. Instances of deadly levels of contaminated water are not confined to fiction. Numerous documented cases worldwide showcase the devastating impact of industrial and agricultural runoff, sewage discharges, and hazardous waste disposal on water quality. From toxic algae blooms to chemical contaminants, water pollution remains a pressing global concern with far-reaching ecological and public health implications. The concept of enclosing a town under a giant glass dome may seem far-fetched, but it prompts contemplation on the drastic measures that might be considered in response to escalating environmental crises. Communities facing extreme pollution levels often witness stringent containment measures. Though not as theatrical as a transparent dome, this isn't the phase. If you got that reference, I adore you. They may feel like that at times. Environmental regulations, water treatment plants, and cleanup efforts are often implemented to control the damage caused by pollution, emphasizing the importance of proactive measures opposed to reactive in safeguarding public health and ecosystems. As environmental challenges remain prominent, the film's exaggerated portrayal acts as a reminder of the urgent need for responsible environmental stewardship. Whether it's a contamination of water sources or broader issues such as climate change, the movie's underlying message aligns with the ongoing global discourse on the importance of sustainable practices and the consequences of failing to address environmental issues effectively, which isn't really being done. So, 2024, environmental disaster, here we come! Yay. And that brings us to the end of our time, and my brain is spinning. I've never really been a die-hard Simpsons fan, or fan of the show, really, period, but I fear for the world if any of these predictions come true.